Bam. All right, here we are again. Punch Drunk Kung Fu and Karate. I definitely got the drunk down. Keep the dead air from being not filled. Hold on.
Yeah, it's tough at this point. We've spent so much time talking about most topics under the sun, so hopefully talking just about what we're doing tonight. I don't know how many of you follow Dan's post on Facebook, but the idea tonight was that we would do a couple of drills before we got into it and see, if we could find application for when we get in. For me, it's particularly beneficial. Dan's got a lot more experience, and absolutely, he's got formal training where I don't have any. So for me, it helps a lot with identifying these situations as they come up. Somewhat from the defensive position, which later on we'll see where I don't identify it because of our orientation. But even the offensive position, I noticed, in
Okay, I'm back and I'm drunk. No, sorry.
I would try to get into an actionable position, but
Ryan
didn't identify it.
Ryan has an amazing mind about him to grasp concepts, either visually, physically, or just read crap on paper. And he's able to honestly stew on them for a week and come back and show improvement. And just tonight, when we start just rolling, I noticed that right away. Just even if he doesn't know the specific techniques, just the concepts of he went for a lot more attacks tonight. But just not like direct attacks, like, get me down, go for an armbar. It would be get me down, go for a move, get me racked, really go for another move. And tonight was the first time, I gotta say, go Ryan, that I was really like, oh shit, fuck, I really gotta pay attention to what I'm doing, because like I can't, before I was a little more relaxed. I'm like, all right, I know I'm gonna be able to get him in something. Tonight I'm like, no, he's thinking, you're thinking too much. You know what I mean? Well, you shouldn't. For me, you are. For you, you're doing good. But for me, it was like, no, he's problem solving. I react, he's reacting. Or before, when you get someone that's new to grappling, it's more kind of like, I do something, and they're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. There was this one guy at Open Mat, not this weekend, but the other weekend, and I was really excited to grapple him. He was some, like union worker, like pipe fitter guy, okay. And dude, he was just stocky and strong as fuck. And this was like literally like month one for him. And I was so excited because you could tell the guy was just like, he's been in fist fights. He was all scarred up and he was older and he was like strong. And, it's one thing when you grapple someone that's strong, that's grappled a lot, because they still kind of go through the mechanics. Where this guy hasn't grappled a lot and he's like, yeah, I'm really fucking strong. Let's fucking grapple. And just when he grabbed my wrist, I'm like, it felt like he could snap it. And I still choked him out and got him, but just that raw, just like bull in a China shop kind of thing. But then afterwards I talked to him like, hey, that's great, you got the aggression. I appreciated it because it's like, hey, what if I got a fight with some asshole at a bar kind of moment? But really, you got to start to taper it back. And you're so beyond that point from the first time you grappled, years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? To now. Can I make this bigger? I don't know. Let me see if I can make full screen. Oh, pretty good window. No, I should not fucking touch anything right now, should I? Okay. I was fucking with the computer right now. So I'm pretty sure, do you already tell them what we're doing here?
Yeah, just some drills. So the first one was heel hook escapes. I think we do a couple more of them.
Yeah, and it's really, instead of just rolling like a jackass, it's how to actually get out of the move. Usually if you can roll and get out of it in the direction that the submission's going, it's because they don't have it properly. And twice tonight, actually, when we were rolling, I actually used this, which was nice. That I was able to pick up on it. But I kind of figured now, with Punch Drunk Kung Fu and Karate, I want to kind of bring it to a point where, obviously, this is not like a formal class, but at least kind of before we just brawl and go for it, that we get to a point where we are doing drills, we are discussing techniques. It's just not like learn by fighting all the time. Let's actually have some kind of organization to it.
But this this adds to it again. Like I said, it's with identification. Jiu-jitsu especially, a lot of it is realizing what's coming before it gets
Yeah.
locked in. And Dan mentioned that he was able to apply the escape that we practiced at the beginning, but that's only because I was able to identify the opportunity to go for an ankle lock or a heel hook.
Yeah.
And so it works both ways. Where when we practice it, it works it into our muscle memory as a new technique that we want to work through, and both of us get to hit each side of it.
Yeah, see, I've always been someone, though, like, I would say when it comes to technique versus just, like, sparring, this is how I like to do techniques. Kind of like, hey, on my time, I'm going to study these techniques. I'll dry run them a little bit like this, but really, I just want to learn by doing. And that I know that's not the best for everybody. Some people need the drill. They need to just drill and drill and drill and drill. I like tonight, like, this is I've never really got a chance to really practice this escape. It's new to me. But tonight, like, I do it a little bit, and then in sparring time, I encounter it, and my mind's able to pick up on it. Like, I even told you afterwards, I'm like, oh shit, like, here it is. This is what we practice. Where some people can't work like that. Like, they're like, I just still didn't see it. I just still didn't see it. So they need more drills. Where I think, you gotta have more. When I grapple, I just really keep, I guess you would say like a analytical mind. I'm always like scanning and assessing. I'm always just like, what opportunities, what must I watch out for? So I think that's why I'm able to do it the way I am. Where some people, maybe they're more just kind of like simple with it. They need just that muscle memory. I don't know.
So I don't need a ton of drilling to get into something, but last time we rolled, I don't know if it was on camera or not, Dan and I did some work with how he ends up putting me in triangles so often. And if you watch these videos,
which was
with me
very
rolling,
hard tonight. Yeah.
Dan gets me in triangles all the time. I just fall for him. And we talked about, and we drilled, maybe 3 or 4 times, what Dan is doing that gets me into a triangle. And just by those 3 or 4 runs that we did at the end of our rolls last week, it made me much more aware, made me much more conscious of what I was doing, and in the end, I think we took my times getting tapped out to a triangle down to 1 tonight.
Yeah, I got you in maybe 2, but definitely, just no more than 2, and it was harder. It was very. I'm gonna have to get crafty. I'm gonna have to like research how to do sneaky asshole fucking triangles and shit. But my triangle is definitely like my bread and butter. For some reason, I've always been able to throw it up, at least on noobs. I actually got someone to Go-Go Plata, the one where you take the shin and stuff, but it was just on a jackass. I can't do shit. But this is good. We're still doing techniques.
So techniques.
This is Ryan's.
The one that I've been looking at is, I'm still a little slow, and I don't quite have the hip mobility to throw an armbar in quickly, especially on somebody Dan's size. If I was up against somebody a little bit bigger, it'd probably work better. But by the time I get my arm around, Dan can already get out, or my leg around, Dan can already pull out of it. But the idea was being able to abort from an armbar that you didn't sit in quickly enough and go over to a bicep slicer.
Which is, because I know you can handle it though. You're actually picking a more advanced move to go to.
Well, so for me, it's because, like I said, I know that with you, I have a pretty low success rate of going for an armbar, right? Because I'm not fast enough in setting it in. So my thought was, okay, I know that by the time I get an armbar, or I get set up for an armbar on you, you'll probably already be flexing your arm up. What's my next step? How do I still make the most of this position? And the bicep slicer is how I make the most of that position.
Okay.
Because I'm already lined up for it, and you're already pulling your arm in the direction I want it to go in.
One thing I always do is when I'm in a position, I'm like, how can I attack? And even if that attack's not going to lead to the actual submission, because it makes you have to react. And I noticed a few times tonight, I would like spin for your legs. And there was times tonight I'm like, I really was actually like, hey, I want to get a fucking leg submission right now. And there was other times I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fucking spin for his legs and make him think I'm going for one.
Right.
That whole like, even though it's that whole submission, position, submission thing, and I just enjoy it. I know now just like attack, and you were doing this tonight. Like attack this way to get a reaction, then to try to go at me at another way, which I could still tell it's in your beta phase maybe,
right.
But you're doing it. whatever. Tomorrow's my off day. The alcohol will relax me. So, by the way, I'm gonna try to actually get a punch drunk kung fu and karate. What do you call it? Where you not copyright it, but where you get it like I couldn't use Coca-Cola's emblem because it is trademarked. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to get trademarked. I want to do T-shirts. I'm just gonna get the phrase trademarked, and then I don't care about a design right now. I don't know. I really like what we're doing. You know what I mean? I just like the open-minded, free-form way of going about training. You know, everyone has something to contribute. I guess that's what I've taken from like my kung fu training. But yeah, here we're just we're talking about how we practice pretty much a way to get out of a very basic heel hook. And we know there's those heel hook voodoo masters out there, and we're just kind of talking about that. The fact that we practice a way to get out of a basic one, and when you encounter the more complicated ones, you know, if you don't know exactly what to do, what basic things. And what I was doing there was like, just take your other foot and try to wedge it in. You know.
What we're talking about here too is when so Dan mentioned that we were going to be practicing some heel hook escapes this week, and so I instantly start my YouTube research. And one of the themes that I came across was the fact that, you know, novice grapplers, they don't recommend practicing heel hooks with them because of the danger that they won't identify they're in a lock until it's way too late. They won't tap early enough. You know, they won't tap before they're injured. And what Dan is illustrating is just the difference in mechanics of an arm bar versus a heel hook or an ankle lock, where with an arm bar you feel the physical limitation of your elbow hyperextending very early in the lock, whereas when we're locking ankles, where you have a lot of mobility in that joint, at first it's just the discomfort of all, as Dan says, the stretchy parts, right? Your tendons.
I don't know science and fucking doctor shit, but your elbow joint is a more very direct cause and effect. I'm gonna fucking break it. You feel that. When it comes to the ankles and stuff, it's like rubber bands. You're stretching them. It's just not the same way. You can be misled in your mind that your ankle can stretch farther than it really can, and oh wait, it snapped because you can't stretch that far. That's why leg shit, ankle locks, heel hooks, and everything are kind of like, it's still voodoo in a lot of circles. It's still like, oh, that's high level shit. But then you look at like catch wrestling crap, and they're like, no, this is normal things to do. Like, this is not some purple belt, brown belt, black belt crap. It's like day one. Let's fucking learn some heel hooks and shit.
This is like we talked about a couple weeks ago too, was the fact that when we first started rolling, I really didn't know what to look for as a valid target of an attack, right? Like basically it was like go for the neck, go for the neck, go for the neck, find a way to go for the neck.
Yeah.
And knowing how to go for the ankle or go for the wrist, you know, it's adding colors to my palette. So you know, if I had said, oh, I can't learn how to do a heel hook, or I can't learn how to do an ankle lock until I've mastered some chokes, then how effective can I really be in a scrum when we might not end up where I can reach?
I equate, and then we were earlier talking about how some BJJ schools will have their guys start from the butt, and I'm like, in a nutshell, you get down the road, you're finally an advanced blue belt, purple belt, and it's like, hey, we're going to start from the standing, because obviously you're not going to just slam someone through the wall, because why would that happen anyway? But all of a sudden, you're a white belt again. We need Marlon back.
We need a cameraman.
We need a fucking cameraman.
Because I think we spend the next minute and a half over here.
Yeah, deal with us. It's hard to get people to show up. I don't know, they have lives. They don't want to spend their Saturday night in my basement. Bunch of fucking assholes. But what I'm saying is, you got a guy that has not really been drilled with wrestling. You know, pretty much the stand-up portion of it. Down the road, suddenly it's like, hey, we're doing stand-up now. You've drilled this, but now we're actually gonna, like, you know, open spar with it. You're a fucking white belt again. You know, I feel that. Fucking man up. You know, we're not in this. I think that's where the money factor comes into it. You need to get people to keep training at your school, and they're just getting slammed. So I like watching a lot of the Gracie breakdown stuff. I love my carpet here. We are like tucked away, man. We're fucking the battle that's going on and the fact you can't see it, we're fucking ninjas. Gracie BJJ, I was watching this video the other night about like what is a blue belt, and they've actually now, if you train in an actual Gracie school, you do not spar like we do until you're a blue belt. And they do this whole thing because it's dangerous and it's intimidating and you're not ready for it. They even have a guy like do this whole pussy testimonial where like it was so hard. We only do 10 minutes of techniques and I'd spar.
It's like the guy that shot an AR and said it's like a grenade.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, fucking only the strong survive. Get in there. Like, I remember the first time I went to Iron Wolverine's Kickboxing Academy.
It's a great movie.
No, it was called
Only the Strong.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was Iron Wolverine. And I show up there, I'm like, I want to train at your school. And this was the first time I was in high school. I walked into a real, actual gym. Up to this point, it was places that want to make money off me. This place was like, fuck you. I don't even make money off of you. We only want the strong. And I'm like, I was in like khaki pants and a flannel shirt. And I'm like, yeah, I've done this training, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, take your shirt off, warm up, here's some gloves and here's some headgear, let's fucking fight. And I got the shit kicked out of me, and I showed up the next day and they're like, good to go. But then I saw that repeat it, and the guys that wouldn't show up, they're like, yeah, because they're weak. It's I'm old school in that mentality. I'm not here to motivate you. If you want to be fucking tough and badass, then show back up.
Well, the other thing too is I think people's perspective of what failure is. Not just when it comes to grappling, not just when it comes to BJJ, but even in the gym, right? Like I like going to the gym. I like hitting weights, and one of the issues that I come across when I lift with other people is you get on bench press, right? Typically,
yeah,
it's a bread and butter workout. People are afraid to get crushed by the weight, and they think that if they get crushed by the weight, they failed.
Yeah.
And really, you learn just as much through that activity as you would if you had pushed the weight back up.
It's like in high school I did art. I was there with this fucking piece of paper. I had to fucking draw some shit. And I was so worried about making a mistake. And one day my art teacher's like, it's okay to make a mistake. That's how you get to the final product. And if you're trying to paint perfection right out of the gate, it's not gonna happen. You need a cameraman, dude. So here's Ryan. He was working ankle locks, and then I go for the neck crank here to stop him. No, maybe not on this one. What's happening here? You go for the...
I think that's what I was starting to do. I was trying to get my one leg over, and then
this is where I do it. This is where I do the drill we did. Look. It's not exactly what happened, but I knew instead of rolling the one way, roll the other way. Like corkscrew out. I was so happy that it fucking worked. So this is where you're different with your stand-up engagement. You don't lock up. It's either commit or nothing. You don't do the whole thing, which, I mean, it's not. It's good and bad, It's definitely another part of it. I need to start shaving my head. I'm fucking bald as fuck. The one thing I like about grappling you is you actually go to your guard, too. I don't get to do too much guard work. And one thing I've been working on is not just letting people toss me out of the mount. Like sinking my knee in and stuff like that. I was thinking about cradling at certain points, but I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I think I go for the Kimura here. Yeah. At first I was too wide with it. I bring it in. There we go. And now we huff and puff. I ran like 6.5 miles today. Oh, so after I run, I gotta take the kids for a run. So I actually ran like 8 miles today. Cause Danny can fucking run, dude.
Of course he can.
I know, yeah. So, but I think this was kind of born with Greg, where it's just like, let's fucking brawl with, the kind of concept around punch drunk kung fu and karate. It's really, I would say it really is only the strong survive. The tough survive. If you're tough and you come and train and keep training, you will learn. Like you're a good example. You keep showing up, you're improving. You almost got me tonight. You're so close.
Yeah, later on, yeah.
You were so close. You almost got me tonight. Where we've had other people show up and they might show up a month from now, 2 months from now, and then they're not going to improve at all.
I think a lot of it, like I said, has to do with what the perception of failure is.
Yeah.
You know, just because you get tapped out, that's not failure, unless you refuse to learn something from it, right?
Yeah.
And then you did fail. But
Yeah.
I know, I can come here and you can you can armbar me and triangle choke me 6 times in a night.
Yeah.
And my question at the end is, well, why am I getting triangle choked? You know, what can I do to get out of it?
I think it's gonna be either in the next training session or the one after that. You'll finally get me. It was only really that one point tonight, but the other times I'm like, oh shit, I see it. I see him starting to get to that point where he will get me. Like he's thinking too smart. He's too smart. Like he's starting to see. But I think what it is a combination of being intellectual, but also there's a lot of muscle-mind connection because you work out a lot. You're very into fitness. You're very aware of your body and how it moves, and what it's capable of. God, we need a fucking cameraman. I thought we did good tonight keeping it within camera range, but I guess it's not as bad. Here we are. I'm trying to maintain top position.
This is one thing I've been working on a lot, is making sure that I get my knee in between you and I.
Yeah, and one thing you do good is you were doing a very good job of keeping me from posturing up. And this is a good example of this. See how I'm trying to posture and you're neck cranking me? And I'm trying to posture so I can break the guard.
This is what I mean about trying to transition over for an arm bar. I knew it would be too slow. I was trying to visualize hiking myself up and swinging over.
Sometimes got to go for it. I want to go for a flying freaking triangle the next time I freaking do open mat. I was going to do it tonight, but this floor sucks.
It was a lot hard.
Yeah, I did it in the very beginning, and I'm like, I'd fucking die. It's fucking,
when you threw your arm,
I was like, this just isn't good for it. And I don't wear a cup anymore. That's why I just don't like, when I used to wear a cup, I would just be like, fucking arm bar in the crotch. And I'm like, that's just not fucking, I'm gonna crush my nuts. Let's see here. I know one thing you're more powerful than me, and a lot of times I would just let you push me back. I'm like, no, I just can't fucking do that all the time. Let's see, roll Ryan's top position. I'm probably gonna try to work half guard here. Expect some control point. There we go. Oh, this is you starting on the ankles. Yeah. I'm probably gonna go for a neck crank. And that's one thing I try to do. I really rolled with you there. I always try to keep that body connection going. You know, not just like sprawl away and push you away and start over again. Like even when we were rolling, I'm like, what can I do? What can I get? How can I attack? Things like that. Like just like chucking my leg up there and bringing it back. Like, you know, what I'm always exploring what options I have. You know, there's very little moments that I'm not. There's very few moments when I grapple, you know, that I'm not seeing like, well, what could I do next? You know, it's only very few times that I'm like, all right, I'm going to rest for 2 seconds. And usually it's like, no, keep working, because the more I'm doing, the more it throws more like math problems that you got to solve.
That was one of the times where you're going for the triangle, trying to get your arm around. And I'm trying to pitch my elbow out.
Here, I was trying to go for back control. I knew I was going to get it, though, because he had that big old fucking arm. I think it's important. You got to know when a position's not good anymore.
Well, this is like, I forget. I think it's after this roll, and it's because of this right here. It's because of me trying to work your arm.
Yeah.
We got done rolling this, and my left arm was useless.
Yeah. That's one thing I told you earlier I did wrong at open mat the other day.
Hanging on too long.
Yeah, way too long. I actually got to the point when he had me in the Kimura, my arm was dead. I actually had to use my other arm to try to pull it out because I could not get my left arm to do anything. That's the other thing, like when people watch like professional fights, they're like, oh, what the fuck's he doing? It's like, dude.
He's tired.
Yeah. There's the times that I'd spar Greg and he'd punch me.
Oh, this is when you got, it was off camera,
that's when I got,
but that's the triangle he got me in. And he got my bicep pressed right up against my nostrils so I couldn't breathe at all.
Watch the first time he tapped me out and be off camera. And I'll be like, no. To our 23 subscribers, he's full of shit. It did not occur. So now we're huffing and puffing. We're talking about it. We're actually, yeah. Oh, so when I was doing that, there's a catch wrestling move where you can pinch the nose and cover the mouth. But no, I'm very happy with the progression we're doing right now. I was messaging Greg. I'm like, I hope Ryan sticks with this.
No, I really
because we're gonna be fucking bad motherfuckers, dude.
And one of the things I mean, I know it's tough to get guys out here. I talked to another buddy of ours about coming out, but he works late, and he was saying he could be here at like 11:30 or something. I'm like, it's too late for both of us.
Yeah.
But getting a couple other, one or two other guys in the mix is nice. Only for you, for not just that, the added energy, the added camaraderie that comes with it, but you get a little bit of a breather, and you also get to look at it third person again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just saw what he did to him. He's done that to me before, but I never realized it because I couldn't see what he was doing with his other arm because I was in his guard.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that too. Like, all right, up to this point, everyone that's trained has been people I know, and it's kind of like that good to go thing. Like, because there's that one time, Greg, we didn't film this before we started filming. Greg broke my fucking nose to the side of my face, and I bled everywhere. I was like, what if that happens to someone I don't know, and the locality of that. So, and that's kind of why I got into drills. Like, say we had someone down here that's like, he's a beta. He's like, I've never trained before. I don't know what I'm doing, and he just gets fucked up. I'm like, maybe we should have some drills in place. Like, hey, I'm going to teach you two things. When it's your time to roll, I'm going to put you in positions where you got to work these two things. And it's not a waiver. So I'm all about, but, I'm not a fucking... I was a white belt in jiu-jitsu. But then I trained a lot with, So the thing is, I trained... And Iron Wolverines did not give belts. We just fucking trained.
Right.
Me and Greg. Greg's a legit fucking... He has 2 fucking black belts, MMA fighter, but we just trained. So I don't know. I shy away from the concept of being like, hey, come here, I will train you, because I've never...
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I feel awkward going about that. I like to keep it in the realm of like, yeah, I'll give you some tips.
Well, it's important to make the delineation, too. This isn't somebody training somebody as much as it should be. From my perspective, anyway, it's kind of self-discovery, right? For me, the things that I learn coming here and the practice that I get coming here answers questions. It unravels, kind of personal mysteries. Not to overstate it.
No. I mean that's very true about fighting. There's this quote. Everyone wants to be a beast until they got to do the things a beast does. You know what I mean? It's just the thing. You always think you're a badass. You're gonna be able to step up. Then you go get fucking punched in the face. And you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. I don't want to fucking do this. So that's the thing. I don't mind this being...
That's my
yeah. Just muscle me around. I'm used to it. I'm a little guy. So wintertime's coming, though. That means I'm going to hit the weights more. Joe Rogan podcast and fucking Alpha Brain and weights.
Buzz Rutten interviews.
I know. But, that's one thing. I don't mind it, like, being... while we're still learning how to fight. It being more like a place for guys just to learn how to be mentally tough. This is more mental training time for your formal training. A place you can come and not worry about like, well, in my school I cannot do this yet. I'm like, no, dude, fucking don't be a bitch. Let's fucking roll. And then I'm glad we don't do striking because that'd be a whole other dynamic. Start fucking punching people and kicking them and shit. Someone gets knocked out. Definitely need fucking waivers. Good waivers, do not the ones that a lawyer will tear up. So, the one thing also I've been trying to work more is just not submitting people from the bottom, actually working my top game. Because I'm so used to being the smaller guy. Oh, my fucking legs.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I was able to work from guard a little bit today was because you weren't going for it as much.
Yeah,
This is a pass you throw up your guard readily because you're comfortable working.
Yeah. Here I am, like, I want to work top control. This might be very good for a really good leg lock. You see, you're very good with your legs, too. Like, earlier, like, sometimes when you were going for heel hooks and ankle locks, you'd use your other leg to keep me from getting out of it. This is actually, I think, going to be a good example of that.
When I was too far up.
Yeah, you were too far up on it, but you were doing a good job. Oh, this is where I used the technique.
And you got mine,
yeah.
Actually. Yeah, and you rolled, and then you grabbed my leg. And this is what I was saying at the beginning when we were doing the intro, because I think Dan tags me right here.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
This is the technique we worked. This is something we practiced. And like I said, I was only able to identify to go for the ankle lock because I felt it there. And as soon as he grabbed me, I was like, I know what I need to do. And in that split second, I realized I don't know where the leg I'm supposed to grab is. I'm upside down. And that just the change in orientation.
I get lost a lot.
So I just was
Yeah.
okay. Roll, to buy
Yeah.
time. I was
Yeah.
only trying to buy time.
And that's the
rolling.
thing we actually discussed tonight, that a lot of people will just start rolling because you feel the pressure of the runway. You roll that way, it temporarily relieves it, but it's you're gonna it's the law of diminishing returns.
Self-defeating, yeah.
You're going to lose eventually unless
Because the
you
guy in control can roll faster.
yeah. The only other variables is I'm sweaty, we roll in an odd way.
Run into one of the walls.
Yeah, the walls. Yeah. So that the one thing I did wrong though, I need to get to a point that when you start rolling, I just lock you down and finish it. Versus, because that's the one thing for me. Like, yeah, eventually, if we could just roll and roll and roll, I'll get it. But I'm not always getting.
What if you don't have that?
Yeah, like I need to go to a point where I stop you quicker. But yeah, I'm really happy in the direction this whole punch drunk thing is going. And I can't. Greg's gonna be coming back sometime. He hasn't told me yet, but he's chomping at the bit because all the work we're doing.
That'll be a blast.
Yeah, so we're probably gonna stick fight.
So we're gonna break a bunch of bottles and glue them to our hands.
Dude, one time I made a joke about pots and pans, and I think he was kind of cool. Like, let's do pots and pans. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm like, this guy's fucking nuts. He wants to do pots and pans.
This is what, like we said, when I went for Dan's ankle, I had him way too far up around the leg, so I wasn't able to get real leverage on the joint. And so Dan's just showing the effectiveness of being further up on the leg.
Yeah, because you have it. Like, I see you have that mindset for the leg locks. Like, you see it. You just need to perfect the actual. You need to during the your research time. Look for detailed videos of how to really. Dean Lister has some good ones of where to really actually crank that. Yeah.
One of the things that I was explaining, I think I'm explaining to Dan right here. When we practiced heel hooks a little bit at the beginning. We drilled that before we started rolling, and I wanted to throw it in. I felt like I could go for it, and as soon as I grabbed hold of the leg, I knew I didn't have the heel hook.
Oh, we're coming to the end here.
But I felt like just being sweaty, like you said, being tired. If I went to try and go for the heel hook from the straight ankle lock that I had,
the end is coming. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to pull it off fast. So this paused.
Oh yeah, I got it going there.
I wouldn't have been able to pull it off fast enough, and I would have gone from a position where I could have acted to having nothing, to having no position.
I think it's like day trading, man. You got to be like, oh shit,
The bell's coming.
Yeah, you have to quickly be able to So sometimes you go for submission, you feel it, but you know you're gonna lose it. And the other guy may be he has a submission, I think he can get out of it. You're still ahead of him. He's thinking he can get out of it, but you know he will. So you use that to your advantage to manipulate his mind. A lot of this is mental warfare. You do things to fuck with them.
So speaking of mental warfare, this last roll that we went for was a perfect example of
it. Oh yeah, this is where Ryan
at the beginning I'm much more aggressive than I normally am, and my pace for advance is much faster. The tempo is faster, and it's not because I'm more amped up. It's actually because I'm more tired. I was so tired at the start of this, and I didn't really catch my breath between the last of them, that I thought if I could throw off Dan's tempo, I might be able to bait him into offering up his neck or jumping on guillotine is kind of what I was hoping. So I sped up because I felt like slowing down.
So at one point, Ryan is going to, he almost has me. I try to roll out of it. It's coming up soon. So I'm going to try to take his back. Let's see here. There it is. I try to take his back, and he has my arm. He holds my arm. And you're so smart. You pop it behind your head. Normal, real naked guillotine escape. And so I'm trying to roll, and I can't because my other arm is stuck. And you see I'm flailing like a fucking dying chicken, dude. So right now I'm assessing. I'm like, how can I get out of this?
And there it goes.
Well, that happened a lot quicker. Oh my god, dude.
It felt like it took longer.
That felt like 5 minutes. I thought I was going to have time to talk my way through it. That is insane. I honestly, God, tonight that felt like that happened for 3 straight minutes.
I thought it was much longer.
That just freaked me the fuck out. Holy shit. Did that really happen that quick? Holy fuck, dude. That just shows how our minds... Alright, so everyone that just saw that. for me and Ryan, that whole moment lasted 3 to 5 minutes. We were upstairs drinking beers, talking about the minutia of that like it happened for 3 to 5 minutes. And look, we're at the end of the video. Blackness. Tune in next week, motherfuckers. Peace.